When you think of a peanut, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Maybe a peanut butter sandwich, right? Or snacking on them at a baseball game. It feels like one of the most common, ordinary foods you can imagine. But believe me, its story is anything but ordinary. Let's dig into the fascinating and, secret history of the peanut.
What if I told you that this simple little snack, something you can find in just about any pantry around the world, is actually hiding a pretty huge secret?
That's right. The peanut is basically an imposter. It's not what most of us have been led to believe, and its journey to our kitchen tables is this incredible tale of ancient innovation and, well, a little bit of botanical magic.
So what makes it an imposter? Well, for starters, its very name, peanut, is kind of leading us astray.
And here it is, the heart of the peanut's identity crisis. We call it a nut, right? We lump it in with almonds, walnuts, all those things that grow on trees. But botanically speaking, it's not a nut at all. It's a legume. It's actually a super close cousin to things like beans and peas. And that's our first big clue that there's way more going on here.
And if you thought that was weird, get ready for this. This is the second, even stranger part of its secret. Unlike pretty much any other plant we eat, the peanut plant does this wild thing where it flowers above ground, but then a little stem, it's called a peg. It bends all the way down and burrows into the soil. That's where the peanut pod actually grows, completely underground. The plant literally plants itself. How cool is that?
Now, to really understand how ancient people figured out this plant's bizarre secret, we have to take a trip way back in time, thousands of years to where it all began. So our story starts in the warm climates of tropical South America. But, this wasn't some isolated event. It was actually part of this huge wave of agricultural innovation that was happening all across the Americas.
And peanuts definitely weren't developed in a vacuum. I mean, look at this list. Ancient American farmers were masters of their environment. They were developing this incredible variety of crops that would, no exaggeration, eventually change the entire world. The peanut was just one amazing piece of a much larger, very impressive agricultural puzzle.
So how in the world did a wild, self-bearing legume become a global staple? Well, it happened through a slow, deliberate, and really beautiful partnership between people and plants.
This is such a critical point to understand. There wasn't some single aha moment where someone discovered farming. Domestication is a really gradual process built on generations of just quiet observation, thousands of small decisions, and knowledge passed down from parent to child. You have to think of these early farmers as scientists in their own right, working in the world's biggest laboratory. Year after year, they would save the seeds from only the very best plants. The ones that had slightly bigger pods, or tasted a little better, or maybe were just a bit easier to dig up. Over centuries, all those tiny choices completely transformed the plant.
And this whole process has a name. It's called domestication. It's really a long-term relationship where humans carefully guide a plant's evolution to make it more useful for us. And in return, that plant provides the food that allows entire communities to grow and become more stable. But why? Why go to all this trouble for the peanut, specifically? What made this underground treasure so special to begin with?
The answer really comes down to pure power. Peanuts are an absolute powerhouse. They're packed with protein and fat, and in a world without supermarkets, a food source that concentrated and that portable was just incredibly valuable. This wasn't just about filling your stomach, it was about high-quality, long-lasting fuel. And here's the other crucial piece. You could store them for a long time. In early agriculture, probably the biggest challenge was just surviving those lean times between harvests. A crop like the peanut, one that you could dry and save for months, was a fundamental key to food security. It meant a more stable, less uncertain way of life.
And let's not forget, harvesting this amazing food meant knowing you had to look for treasure that was completely hidden underground. It required this deep, sophisticated understanding of the plant's entire life cycle, knowledge that could only be born from generations of patient, careful observation.
So the peanut started out as this brilliant regional experiment. How did it end up becoming the global phenomenon we know today?
The journey the peanut took is just incredible. First domesticated in tropical America, it then spread all throughout the continents thanks to ancient trade networks. After 1492, it began a truly global journey, and today, of course, it's a staple food grown and eaten all over the world. And that brings us to the most important point of all. Every single time you eat peanut butter or grab a handful of peanuts, you are participating in a story that began thousands of years ago. The success of this modern, global crop rests entirely on the foundation of ancient indigenous innovation and incredible agricultural skill.
This quote, I think, just captures the essence of the peanut so perfectly. It's a plant that's both modest and powerful, something both visible and hidden, and understanding it required a special kind of wisdom from its very first cultivators. The wisdom to see the amazing potential that was hidden just beneath the surface.
The story of the peanut is just amazing, and it reminds us that so much of the food we eat has a deep, fascinating history we rarely even think about. So maybe the next time you sit down for a meal, just ask yourself, what other hidden histories are on your plate?